Okay, Unit 2, Week 2. This list has a lot of words with the short U and the long U sounds. U, or oo. Let's look at the short U sounds first. The word is fun. Say the word fun. What's the first sound you hear? Next sound, we use the U to say fun, and fun. There we go. The word is must. Must, you must do your best. Sound, starting at the midline, drop it down, go up, drop it down. Must, do you hear that in there? Must, spelled with a T. Must, must. And you have to say each sound clearly in order to spell it correctly. Next word, hum. Hum. I want to hum a song. Sounds hum. Spell it with an M. There we go. Hum. Next word, cub. A cub is a baby bear. Cub. Sound k. And we always use a C unless you have to use a K. We use a K only if the next letter is a E, I, or Y. But because we have a sound afterwards, that's a U, we have to use the C. K, b, b. When I say b, I start with the line. So I draw the line first, trace it up and around, cub. My mouth makes the line, or it reminds me to draw the line, cub. Next word, dug. Dug, I dug a hole. When I say d, my lips are open, so I draw the open part first, up and around, open, up tall, drop it down, there's that sound again, dug, and the g, starting at 2 o'clock, up and around, drop it down in a shallow tail, dug. Next word, plum. Plum, plum. And when I say p, my lips form a line. I draw my line first, trace it up, and make the belly that sits there. Pl, pl. Do you hear the l in there? Pl, plum. Okay, plum. Now, let's look at the words with the long U. The long U says U or oo. Okay, the first word is mule. Mule. A mule is a four-legged animal. It's actually a cross between a horse and a donkey. U. Do you hear the U sound in there? We're going to use the U to say U. Mule. And then I need an E to make the U say U. Otherwise, it would say mo. I'm not going to write a mo. I want a mule. Next word, fuse. The fuse is an electrical thing in the house to help keep the house safe. Whoops. Stop that. Few. Do you hear the U there? Few. Fuse. And in this word, it's a Z sound. But we spell it with a S because S is often used to spell Z at the end of a word. Fuse. And then I need an E to make the U say U. Very flat line up and around. Fuse. And just like fuse is the word use. I want to use my iPad. Use. So the sound is U, use, and it says z, spelled with an S, because we often use S to spell the Z sound at the end of a word. Use. But I need a silent E to make the U say you. Otherwise, it would say us. We want use. Next word. Huge. Huge. It was a huge wave. You. Do you hear the U? Huge. Now, I am not allowed to write a word with a J at the end. Not allowed. English words cannot end with a J. So, the other option I have is a G to say J and an E. Okay, the E is doing two jobs. It's making the U say you, and it's also making the G say J. Did you see that? Without the E, it would say hug, right? But with the E, it makes the U say you, and it makes the G say J, huge. Okay, let's look at some of our bonus words. The word is rope. Rope. What are the sounds? R, O. Use the O to say O. Rope. Remember, the P sound starts with a line up and around, and then I need to make it have an E to make the O say O. Rope. Next word, nose. My nose got red in the sun. N, O, 2 o'clock up and around. Nose. Do you hear the Z sound? And what do we use? That's right, we use a S to say Z at the end of a word. Nose. And we have an E to make the O say O. Nose. Next word, look. Say the word, look. I will look for you. Sounds L, Do you hear the And we spell the sound with O-O. We have, O-O has two other sounds, but this is one of the sounds it can make. Remember, the sounds are oo, and O, and in this word it says look. And at the end of the word, we use a K in this word. We use a CK if it comes right after one single short vowel. But here, do you see that we've got two vowels, the two O's together saying So I have to use a K. Look. Next word, yes. And this one is spelled just how it sounds. Y. Yes. And in this word, we just use one S to spell yes. Now, to write the next word, I want to give you a trick. The word is there, and we have 3 words that sound exactly alike. There. And here's what I want you to remember. They, they, and in the word they, we use the EY to say A. It's not very common, but it happens in this word. It's a very old word, and it uses this spelling. And so let's say they like their house. And the this there means that they own it. They like their. And do you see how we use the EY for they? We're going to use the EI for their. Okay? Because the I and the Y are related, so they like their house. So if it is something that they own, it is their possession. their house, their dog, their cat, their car, whatever it is. If it's something that they own, we connect the EY and the EI, because Y's and I's are related. So they own their things. And the there, we use the EI to say A in there. So that's a bit of a trick, and that's the one thing you have to remember in that word. Okay? The rest of it you can hear, but you have to remember the EY for they and the EI for there. So here's what we can do. We can draw a little heart around this part and say, yep, I've got to remember that. That we have the EI to say there.